Hello, everyone. Welcome. Please put your first name and your last name in the chat so I can take attendance. Okay, so I prepared a game because what better way to study than through a game? So hop on. Should we have music? Will it increase the intensity? No, Laura. There. Can you hear me and hear the music? Okay. So there's going to be 30 seconds per question. Um, we can also discuss the questions afterwards if you're a bit confused. But hop on to this Block It. It's sort of like Kahoot, but I found out that Kahoot isn't free anymore. So we're using this one. Oh, all these questions that I prepared are based off the IQs from the chapters, and they're all multiple choice. You can also log in on your phone or your iPad or something else if that makes things easier. Or you could just log on onto your laptop or computer. And all of these questions are based off lecture questions, not lab questions. We're going to have a different review session in the future for lab, and those will be fun too. Okay, I'll wait for everyone to join and then we could start. This session is also recorded and will be uploaded later so you can access these questions. Okay, awesome. Let's begin. What is the neuromuscular junction? Oh, looks like you guys studied. Nice job. Oh, there's a few people joining. Okay, if you're just joining, please join the Lock It game. The ID is in the corner. The Block It game is sort of like Kahoot. Lower it a bit. Okay. And they're questions based on the lecture. So if you could still join. There's 61 questions. Could still win. A muscle fiber contracts all or none sometimes, only when cold, partially. That's funny if your muscles only work if they're cold. Glad it doesn't do that. A drug destroys microvilli in the small intestines. What is the likely consequence? Microvilli is the super high surface area inside your small intestines because the more surface area it has, the more absorption you can have. And that's why if it's flattened, it lowers its surface area and there's less absorption. Are the people who just joined able to join the Block It game? I'll put in the chat the link. And then all you do is type in the ID. I'm gonna pause this so everyone else can join. Now, the ID is 63310. Was the smallest functional unit of muscle, this sacromere. All the others don't have function yet. It is the building block. So until it gets to the sacromere, it doesn't have function. Okay. Was everyone able to join?
I'm almost joined. I just have bad internet. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I can wait. Okay, let me know when you join so then I could resume. I think I'm gonna mute it so you guys could focus on the question and not get distracted by the sound because it feels very intense, even though we're not counting this for points in or anything. It's just a game, it's just for fun. And hopefully, it helps you review these concepts.
Yeah, it's not pulling up the website, is it? Is that how it's spelled in the chat?
Oh, sorry, I misspelled it.
Oh, no worries.
Okay, here you go. It's
Oh,
Blicket. Was everyone else able to join? There should be 5 people in the game. Okay, awesome. Did the website load for you?
sorry, it's still loading. You can play without me. I can still just answer in my head a little bit.
Okay. Let's resume. Which cartilage type absorbs shock? Is it adipose, fibrocartilage, hyaline, or elastic? You could think about how the structure looks like. Maybe that could help you remember which one absorbs shock. Fibrocartilage. What type of muscle tissue is involuntary and striated? Is it connective? Is it smooth, skeletal, or cardiac? Cardiac. Connective isn't even a muscle type. I just wanted to fill the blank. But cardiac is not involuntary. You can't control how it moves. The outer covering of bone is the periosteum, synovium, cartilage, or endosteum. Periosteum. Which joint type is freely movable? Diarthrosis. Which connective tissue function relates to protecting organs? Okay, I'm noticing that this is going really fast in time. Do you guys want more seconds on it?
For me personally, I think maybe a little slower would be nice.
Yeah, okay. I think I was in the middle of changing it. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, let's try it again. Hopefully, it is slower. So we might have a few repeat questions. Let me share my screen. I changed it to 30 seconds and hopefully that would help. Because I'm barely finished reading the question and it's already time. So hopefully 30 seconds is better. Okay, we're waiting on one more person and then we can start. Okay, awesome. Let's begin. Which junction provides the least structural support? Is it a gap junction, tight junction, adhere junction, or desmosome? Structural is like a building. So gap junctions is the only one that isn't trying to reinforce like a building. Are structure and function related? Yes. This is a phrase you'll hear a lot. Structure determines function. If the Golgi apparatus stopped functioning, what would be the most effective? Think about what a Golgi apparatus does, and that's the answer. They look like the flat pancakes in your body. So they're part of the protein modification and packaging before the proteins are exported from the cell. So they're like the last step. And if they stop working, then you will have a lot of problems with proteins. There could be a lot of mutations. A drug destroys microvilli in the small intestines. What is the likely consequence? This is what we talked about earlier, how microvilli is super like round and has a lot of surface area. So they do a lot of like they take nutrients from your small intestines and bring it into your body, the outside of your body, and bring it to the inside of your body. And if it destroys the microvilli, then you will have less absorption because it's flat, less surface area. Which cells make the extracellular matrix? So neurons, fibroblasts, chondrocytes, or osteocytes. It's a fibroblast. If you break down the word, blast means to create. A fracture through the epiphyseal plate in a child may result in. What does it result in? This is super cool if you have ever seen it. It is part of your long bone, and it's like this base where there's a lot of cellular like work because as a child there's a lot of action in that spot, so a child can have longer bones and they keep growing. And how big your epiphyseal plate is, it's genetics. So that's why some people are taller than others because they have bigger plates. A positional growth in adults increases. What does it increase? This is also related to the question similar to before. Your bone thickness. What is the study of microscopic anatomy? I also learned this is also called histology. The study of structures not visible to the naked eye. Which pigment protects DNA from UV damage? This is such a cool pigment. Melanin. Muscle shrinking due to disuse is blank. Atrophy. Atrophy happens if you go on a break. Like if I was put in a boot for a long time, an ankle boot, because of I got an ankle injury, and they were worried about atrophy. Atrophy. They were worried about atrophy. What makes nails hard? Yep, keratin. Keratin is the material that makes nails hard. Which tissue type covers surfaces and lines cavities? Is it the nervous, connective, epithelia, or muscle? Yep, epithelia. Where are new epidermal cells made? The basal layer. If you burn your basal layer, then you will stop producing epidermal cells. What does the erector pili muscle do? I feel like you could kind of hear what it does in its word. Raised hair, goosebumps. I always think of erect, so that helps me remember it. What is the smallest functional unit of muscles? This was one of the questions in the first attempt. It is the part that has function, the sacrometer. A burn destroys the stratum basal. What is the most serious consequence? I just talked about it earlier. Oh, I forgot I made a question about it. Yep, the inability to produce new epidermal cells. It's because you're destroying all of the ones that create the new cells, that does the cell division. Why do tendons heal slowly? So if you break a bone, it'll heal faster than tendons than if you break a tendon. And it's because it's poorly vascularized, which means it doesn't have a lot of blood vessels, and blood vessels is what's carrying all of the building blocks to the repair site. How many micrometers equal 1 millimeter? This is sort of like math and chemistry. Yep, 1,000. What connective tissue surrounds a fascicle? Perimecium. Peri means around. During hot weather, skin blood vessels dilate. Why? To release heat. Mature cartilage cells are called chondrocytes. Chondrocytes is for cartilage, osteocytes is for bone. Because osteo, the word for that is bone. A patient with nerve damage cannot voluntarily move muscle. Which property is impaired? Which property of muscle? The excitability, because the nerves isn't able to send signals to the muscle. Which joint type is freely movable? Diarthrosis. Where is thick skin found? This is good to know if you go rock climbing or you work with your hands and feet a lot, or if you walk around barefoot a lot, thick skin is found on your palms and soles of your feet. Oh, I learned that some animals have thick skins on like their belly if they like are on their bellies a lot. That's pretty cool. So it's based on where you move a lot. Increased joint stability decreases. Does it decrease your mobility? Does it decrease your flexibility, your strength, your lubrication, your mobility? A spinal cord injury causes loss of communication between brain and body. Which system failed? Okay, that's true. Flexibility and mobility can be used synonymously for each other, so I'm going to change it to a more different meaning of word for the next round of using this. Thanks for letting me know, Hudson. A patient immobilized in a cast for 8 weeks shows muscle weakness because, oh, that was like me. I was in a boot. Yeah, atrophy. It's unfortunate. But sometimes it's good to make sure that the joint or like whatever part is broken doesn't move so it can heal it properly in place. So that's the sacrifice. The papillary layer of the dermis is made out of which connective tissue? The areolar connective tissue. What type of muscle tissue is involuntary and striated? We just talked about this too. Think about something you can't control. Can you control their skeletal muscle? Can you control your smooth muscles, your cardiac muscles, your connective muscle? There's no such thing as connective muscle. I hope no one picked that. Okay, awesome. Why is thick skin found on palms and soles? Greater protection from friction. That's true. Which is a membrane-bound organelle? Membrane-bound means it's covered in like a membrane. It's surrounded by a membrane. Yep, the mitochondria. Endocrine glands secrete products. Where do they secrete the products into? Also, for those who just joined in the chat, I will put the website of this game we're playing, and the ID in the corner is the code to get in. We have like 30 more questions left, so you're welcome to join and participate. A highly stable joint with little movement is classified functionally as synarthrosis. Which system transports blood and nutrients? Yep, your cardiovascular. If you only read nutrients and you picked digestive, that would be correct, but it doesn't really transport blood. Severe acne affects which type of gland? Oh no. Wow, the game just crashed. How unfortunate. Let me see. I could share my screen and we could try to do the remainder of the questions. But we have half of the questions left. Would you guys be okay if we can go through them together? How about that? I think that's the move. Okay. The study of microscopic anatomy. We already did. Okay, the correct order of structural organization from smallest to largest. Oh, I shouldn't click on it. If you guys know it, you could type it in the chat. Chemical as in like atoms, like molecular. Yeah, this is the right order. So chemical, cellular, tissue, organ system, and organism. Okay. Next question is, to see most organelles, which microscope is needed? Is it a light microscope, a compound microscope, an electron microscope, or a dissecting microscope? Yep, it's an electron microscope. Okay, which cell can be seen without a microscope? Is that a neuron, a muscle cell, a red blood cell, or an ovum? Yep, ovum. Ovum is a human egg, and that's big enough that we can see with our naked eye without a microscope. What is the function of mitochondria? Yep, produces ATP. It is the powerhouse of the cell. It is energy. That is true. What differs, what makes cilia and microvilli different? What are their differences? How do you distinguish them? What kind of functions do they have that are different? Cilia and microvilla. Villi. Yep, cilia is mobile. It can move around, can transport nutrients out and around. What about microvilli? Microvilli. Remember, it's in your small intestines, the microvilli. It coats the inside. And that's the one where nutrients passes through. Cilia is in places like throughout your respiratory system, and it helps get rid of particles that you don't want in, like dust. What lubricates synovial joints? Is it bone marrow, cartilage, synovial fluid, or tendons? Oh, and yes, microvilli increases surface area for absorption. So one basically moves things, the cilia move things, while the microvillia like lets things pass through it. Yep, synovial fluid. One motor neuron controls only one fiber, many fibers, only the brain, or only skeletal muscle. I mean, only skeletal organs.
I'm sorry, do you think you could ask the question one more time?
Oh, yes. One motor neuron controls what? Does it control one fiber? Does it control many fibers? Does it control only the brain or does it control only skeletal organs? Yep, many fibers. What is the neuromuscular junction? Yep, it's a synapse between a motor neuron and a skeletal muscle fiber. The outermost layer of epidermis is what? I could list a few. There's the stratum basal, the stratum spinosum, the stratum corneum, and the stratum granulosum. Yep, it's the corn one. I always think of how a corn is at the top of a plant. That's how I remember that one specifically. Okay, this one is the scenario. A genetic disorder prevents lysosomes from functioning. What would most likely occur? Is it ATP production increases, protein synthesis stops, cellular waste accumulates, or liquid production increases? And think about what lysosomes do. And it's basically if you affect the lysosomes and you lose its function, and what is the consequence of that? Not protein synthesis. Lysosome does not create protein. It is something else. So basically, lysosome is the thing that destroys things. It's the eater. It's like if there's like a bad cell or a cell death, it breaks it down, it eats it all. So what will accumulate is the cellular waste. There'll be a lot of cellular waste just floating around in the cell in your body, and nothing's cleaning it up. So that's what lysosomes do. Okay. Trying to find questions we haven't done. Okay, this is another sort of scenario. An intervertebral disc injury most likely involves which cartilage? So basically, what cartilage is in between your vertebrae? Is it hyaline, elastic, articular, or fibrocartilage? And think about your vertebrae. Think about how much it moves around and how much support it needs. Do you want it to be elastic? I mean, maybe like some gymnasts would prefer if it was elastic. Hyaline is like glass. Do you want your vertebrae to be protected by glassiness? It is fibrocartilage. It is the strongest one, and we would really hope our vertebrae are supported by very strong cartilage. Okay. A weightlifter, this is another scenario. A weightlifter increases muscle size after training. What is this called? Is it atrophy? Is it elasticity? Is it hyperphagia? Or is it hypertrophy? Hypertrophy. Hypertrophy? So if you're like working out your muscles a lot, yep, it's hypertrophy. Okay. Why are fingerprints unique and functional? Is it A, oil gland patterns, B, melanin patterns, C, hair follicle distribution, or D, the dermal papillae increase friction and surface area? Not, oh yeah, it is D. I read it in the circle. Okay, D. The dermal papillae increases friction and surface area. So remember we talked about the microvilli, how it's in our small intestines and there's a lot of surface because of all the curves. Same with our fingers if you look very carefully. That's why when you are in water for a long period of time and your fingers get even more wrinkly and pruny and that feeling, and that's also to increase surface area so you could grab more things underwater. So good to know. A pale appearance during cold exposure is due to, is it A, increase melanin, B, decrease keratin, C, hair contraction, or D, vasoconstriction, reducing blood flow to the skin? I think the visual aid could help better, but I have to uncheck the answers. So when your body is really cold, your body prefers to function, all the enzymes and all the activity prefers to function at a certain range of temperature and like pH and a lot of things. So if it gets colder or out of that range, all the enzymes start slowing down and everything starts like trying to like move things around so you will survive. And one of those things that our bodies does is it shunts our blood flow, so it redirects all of our blood flow to more vital parts like our organs. So they're like, oh, skin, we don't really need that. Oh, the limbs, we don't need that, which is why people get frostbite pretty easily. Like when blood is moving around, it's warming our body and it's warming us up. But when we get really cold, all of the blood, like not leaves, but it starts being like more prioritized towards our organ. So the answer to this is vasoconstriction, reducing blood flow to the skin. Okay. A fracture. I already talked about that. Yeah, I think that's it. Those are the 61 questions. If I missed anything, I apologize. I'm still working on this block it. I don't understand why they crashed. Maybe I should do like 30 questions in the beginning and then another set of 30 questions to prevent it from lagging. But I could figure this out later. The other review sessions for the week will be the exact same one. So if you want to like study these questions and try them again, you're welcome to join another review session. But make sure in the chat to put down your name so I could take attendance and mark that you have arrived. And good luck on your midterms and thanks for coming. I hope next time we could have a more fun game session that has less bugs and stuff. Is there somewhere to access the questions to study? I'm going to be uploading this video online. Um, so all the questions, you could review the video to watch them. And all of these questions are based off of the IQs. I just turned some of them to be more specific about like scenarios and stuff because I like to think in stories. So if that helps there's always a lot of fun like Instagram and YouTube accounts that share like really interesting anatomy cases, and they're so weird. They help me remember these terminology better and what they do. So if you guys like to learn about stories, I recommend following a few like anatomy based Instagrams and stuff. Does anyone have any questions? Of course, good luck on your midterm.